Welcome to the show. I'm not sure if I am live or not. I have no indication of what's going on here. So this is what happens when you try to go live. And oh, hold on here. All right. All right, folks. So it looks like we are now live at this point. I had a little technical difficulties. This is my first live event. I've never done a live stream before, so I guess I'm doing it and learning it as I go through it. I'm going to be taking a look at the 1985 Joes today, and the reason why I'm taking a look at the 1985 Joes today is because it's when I started to collect GI Joes. So in 1985, around this time of the year, my birthday came about. I was turning 10, and I got my first GI Joe. So I'm going to be looking at the top 10 GI Joes that I have in my collection, and I actually have the entire 85 line. So these are the top 10 GI Joes, in my opinion, completely subjective, of course. And if there's some out there that are watching and they basically disagree with what I think is the top 10, then, don't shoot the messenger. This is subjective, of course. This is just my opinion. And a lot of this is just going to be based on nostalgia. So let's take a look at some of these G.I. Joes. I thought that I'd start off with a special mention, number 11 here with Flint, just because he was such a popular character in not only the cartoons but as well in the comic book storyline. So in this particular case, this is Flint. Came out in '85. Now here he has a machine gun. I don't have his iconic shotgun. All I have here is the machine gun. So you can tell that this particular fellow is missing his shotgun, but other than that, he's in really great condition. The machine gun is of hit and run, and as you can tell from this particular figure, it's very well done. So I love the just the detail in this particular figure. Let's see if I can get him anywhere close. Here we go, and you can see throughout, well done. You'll take a look at, he's got some sort of patches up here on his shoulders. I don't know if that signifies his rank or not. As well, he's got some design as well on the beret. Well done figure. I thought I would mention him, honorable mention, because he's such an iconic figure in the storyline of G.I. Joe and of the toy line that I thought that I would put him out here. So that is the first fellow. Let's go to number 10. So number 10, very special figure for me because this particular figure, Torch, one of the Dreadnoks, is a figure that has been with me for 40 years. So the majority of the time they had been with my parents until maybe 3 or 4 years ago when I got him back in my possession. So discolored and all at the legs, as you can see. He's a particular figure that I've had since I was 10 years old. So I got him not in '85 but in '86 as part of an Easter gift basket, him and a few other G.I. Joes. But he is number 10, and purely here out of nostalgia. As you can see from this particular figure, you'll see the great sculpt of this figure from his skull necklace that he has to his vest, right down to his chain link belt, to his gloves. Just a great figure. I am missing the actual flamethrower. I have the backpack. I can show you in the back here. This isn't my original. This is one that I picked up for cheap. Has a lot of problems with it, obviously, but I still need the flamethrower itself to have a complete figure. So with this fellow, again, just great sculpt. Here you can see that there is a little sword or a little knife, maybe a sai, and on this side he has a handgun. Of course, him being a punk kind of character, he has his what is it, like a little band around his arm, and he's sporting the lamb chops. Kind of looks like Lemmy from Motorhead a little bit. And he's wearing the fancy looking sunglasses. Kind of reminds me of something out of Star Trek from Geordie LaForge, but this guy had it first before he did. So there he is. That's number 10 on my list. A personal favorite of mine, just because I have a lot of nostalgia attached to that particular fellow. So Torch at number 10. Let's move on to number 9. At number 9, we have Shipwreck. Now, Shipwreck is a great looking figure. In this particular figure, he comes, of course, with Polly, the parrot, and he has a gun, and he also has some sort of rope attached to an anchor of some sort, or some pick of some sort. But this particular fellow is really sculpted quite well. A lot of detail in here, right from the bell-bottom pants, and the sailor hat. He has insignias, a little tattoo on his right arm, which, let me get a closer look of that. So he has a little anchor there on his right arm, and he has I'm thinking that that's his rank of the Navy. I'm not sure. Maybe some of you that are more familiar with a Navy rank, if can point that out, if whether or not that is indeed a Navy rank or not. Not sure about that, but a really good looking character. I really like this figure. Didn't have him as a child, but I really like the fellow because of the fact that he was such a popular character in the cartoons. Not so much in the comics, but in the cartoons he was shown a lot. Yeah, great voice actor. Don't recall the gentleman's name, but a great voice actor who made him sound a little like Jack Nicholson. So there's Sailor, and that is Shipwreck. And I'm going to, so that is what, number 9. So moving on then to the next figure. And the next figure is a figure that I really liked as a kid, but I never got a chance to get him, and that's Alpine. As you can see here, Alpine just comes with a fantastic variety of equipment. I don't have everything here. I do have his pick, and I do have this sort of launcher, I guess. I do have his, I think comes as well with a machine gun, and he comes with a rope. As well. I don't have the rope. I have the machine gun somewhere, but I don't have it here. But this was just a figure that I absolutely really liked as a kid. Hi, Joe Fan. Hey, good to see you on here. He is a really nice figure, really well detailed. And he's, of course, the G.I. Joe specialist in mountain climbing. A lot of detail as well with this particular figure, as you can tell from the rope that's around his shoulder, right down to his green boots. I really like this figure. I'm starting to notice that most of the figures that I like seem to have some sort of facial hair, and he's got a sweet-looking stash there on his face, so looks fantastic. He's got the goggles, and then he's got the little hat as well on top. Looks like he has some sort of guards as well, right, protecting his wrists, and that would make sense. As a mountain climber, you would definitely need some guards. So that is Alpine, number 8 on my list. Now for the next figure. Really nice looking figure. Another figure I didn't have as a child, but really appreciate him as an adult, and that is the Cobra Snow Serpent. What can you say about this figure? Absolutely fantastic mold. Has everything that you would want as a little kid looking through the different G.I. Joes to collect. From his very, very neat looking, I would say AK-47 style machine gun to his rocket launcher, which attaches to his backpack. So it's not something that is off to the side, right down to his snowshoes. Really, really great looking figure. Has his helmet, has the visor, has a face mask as well, and it has this really beautiful Cobra logo. Just super nice, and in this particular figure, it really shines out. Comes with and I'm assuming that this would be a parachute. If I'm wrong, then please somebody correct me. And the parachute does come off, which makes it a much more interesting fellow. Absolutely love this figure. Like I said, I didn't have this figure as a child, but now going through the figures of the 1985 set, he is certainly one of my favorites. And in this particular case, he is number 7. Now off to number 6. Now this is a figure that I did have as a child, and one of the reasons why I really liked this figure as a child was 1980s war movies. They were on TV. They were in the movies. They were everywhere, and this figure was total military style fatigues. It's the stuff that you saw on the movies at the time. It's the stuff that you saw in TV shows at the time, because it's the uniform that the U.S. Army had during the Vietnam War, during the 70s. And I really loved this figure as a kid. I don't like the character so much as he is portrayed in the comic book. Not in the comic book, sorry, but in the Sunbow cartoon. But I really like the figure, right down to the M16, which is the gun of the time, to his removable helmet, which comes off. And there you have a fellow with a hairstyle that you would have seen most adults back in the 80s having, right down to this. And I think it's a clover leaf that he has on his arm. But again, the detail is fantastic. The camouflage fatigues, the grenade on his chest. And this particular fellow as well came with a bazooka, which I think is somewhat similar to Bazooka's weapon. But again, just another figure that you would walk by the aisle as a 10-year-old or 11-year-old, and you take a look at see how much stuff he came with. So here you had a figure that was total military theme, had the backpack, had the helmet, had 2 guns. So it was certainly somebody that you were going to want if you were into the military as much as I was when I was 10 years old. So I loved those movies, and I loved the TV shows concerning the different wars of the time. And in particular, this fellow wearing the army fatigues of the era certainly was a standout for me, and that's why he's on my list. The next figure that I have, who I have to replace the O-ring of, is the Crimson Guard. Now, the Crimson Guard is a fantastic figure. See if I can get him so he doesn't. We are. He is absolutely a fantastic figure. He has all the royal things that you would see on royal type soldiers, with the sort of the special, I don't know what these things are called, but different type of medals perhaps that goes around the individual's shoulder and chest. His gun with the knife attached to it, the bayonet, is absolutely great add-on. His visor, his face mask is spectacular. Absolutely love that. And again, the details. He has also, see if I can get his arms down so we can see his chest a little bit without him falling over, because that is the highlight of this figure. So there you have his chest, and you can see, let's see if I can get him to stand up without falling. Like I said, he needs a new O-ring. So again, he has more medallions. He has more medallions on his chest. I can see I can get him closer maybe. This will focus better. Right. Oh, there we are. Okay, so he's got, again, medallions on his chest. He's got the Cobra insignia, and he's got like a little design pattern here on his left arm. Just makes him look like a regal guard that you would see with some monarchies higher up, and it fits perfect with the Cobras. A step up from the Viper or from the regular Trooper, and he looks fantastic. This particular fellow came with that gun, with that awesome bayonet. It also came with this backpack, which is a little bit different than what you would see, but a great looking backpack nonetheless. So that is, what are we at? Number 5? Yeah, so that's number 5 on my list of favorite Joes from 1985. And I did have this fellow as a kid. Obviously, this is not my childhood one, but I had him and just really, really had a lot of playtime with him because he was one of my favorites. And as soon as this is done, we're going to replace that O-ring of his. So there is the Crimson Guard. So next up is a figure that I never had as a child, but absolutely love this figure. I remember going to somebody's birthday party, and I must have been, I don't know, 10 or 11 years old, and someone had this fellow. And I absolutely loved this guy because he was so different from any of the other figures. And why was he different? Well, he had cloth goods. This was not usual back in the day, and G.I. Joe didn't come with cloth goods. I think this fellow was probably the first one with cloth goods. As you can tell from the design, he's very well sculpted. He's got great designs throughout his body, and again, it's not just simple patterns here, but he's got some another marking here on his left shoulder. Of course, he's got the desert camouflage that he's wearing. He's, of course, a desert trooper, so that only makes sense. And he's got emblems throughout on his chest. What they signify, I'm not sure, but a great figure overall. And when I saw that kid at the birthday party with this figure, I absolutely said, oh, wow. And this is somebody that I always wanted, but he was very popular, and it was somebody that I wasn't able to get as a child. As you can see, he also comes with a machine gun at the bottom here. And is it me, or are these guys getting hard to focus? Comes with a machine gun on his hand, and again, the detail right down to his pants. He's got his pockets, what you would expect with cargo pants of the sort, and then as well, he's got that knife there on his left boot, left leg. So fantastic figure, and of course, he comes with a backpack, and the dusty backpack is what we have here. And let's see if I get this focused in here a little bit. He's got a great looking backpack. So that is Dusty. That is number 4. And that was one of my favorites that I never had as a kid. Now, we're getting into the very, very, very nostalgic ones. So some of these might not make sense for some of you watching. But at number 3, and a figure that I absolutely love. This was the second G.I. Joe figure I ever received. And of course, he came with the Mauler. And that is Heavy Metal. Heavy Metal, I had this fellow for a long time before he got thrown out with all my other G.I. Joes by my parents. But this was a fellow, I had him, and I had another Joe that's coming up, which was my first G.I. Joe. And I had these two guys for about 3 or 4 months until '86, until the Easter, when I got a bunch of new G.I. Joes that I could have battles with. So I had 2 figures. I had one G.I. Joe, I had one Cobra, and they just had battles for months. And of course, he came with the Mauler, and I did get the Mauler for Christmas of 1985. And I would just remember staring at this figure for what seemed like hours now, and just looking at the detail from his belt with the CS on it. Still don't know what the CS is for. From his leather jacket that overlaps what his green shirt underneath. From his green, I want to say mittens, but gloves, green gloves. From the gun in the holster on his chest. From his mic, and this is a repro, not an original, of course, because I'm not going to pay insane prices. From his mustache, great mustache, great face sculpt, but I love the 5 o'clock shadow on his chin. That's what really gives it depth. That's what really gives it just a really nice look to it. It's that particular attention that Hasbro at the time would give to their figures is what made it head and shoulders above all the other toy lines, at least in my opinion. And I absolutely love this figure, and I loved the Mauler as a kid. So one of my favorites. And as you can see here, he too has another gun and holster on his right arm. Didn't come with a backpack because he came with a vehicle, but that is the figure that is ranked number 3 on my list of top 10 G.I. Joes of 1985. So, who's number 2? Well, a lot of people would think that this fellow is the one that I would pick as number 1, and I'm sure that for everybody out there that this is the number 1 figure of G.I. Joe that there is. Of course, that being the 1985 Snake Eyes. Now, Snake Eyes, I don't have Timber, so I just have Snake Eyes, and this by far was everybody's favorite figure back in 1985. Everybody loved this figure, and as an adult collector, everybody needs to have this figure. If you collect G.I. Joe, then you got to have the 1985 Snake Eyes. Just absolutely one of the most iconic figures in the toy line, and if you're a reader of the comics, in the comic storyline. So what can I say about this particular Snake Eyes that hasn't already been said? Not much. Great figure, great sculpt. Again, just the black, little bit of gray, bluish color, maybe grayish color. Again, with his iconic Uzi, which was the gun of choice back in the day, to his arrows on his right shoulder, to his katana on his backpack, just a great overall figure. Absolutely, this is the figure that I so wanted in 1985. Him and Storm Shadow were the figures that were only real in my dreams, and of course I could never find them anywhere because they just weren't around. So this particular guy is a figure that I only was able to get my hands on as an adult a few years ago, and absolutely love this iconic figure. So I even love right down to his face sculpt. You can see the little indent in the lower face of the part, which signifies where his mouth is. And it's just a great figure, great character, one of the best. So if Snake Eyes is not my number 1, not my greatest G.I. Joe of 1985, then who is? Well, my number 1 G.I. Joe is the first ever G.I. Joe that I received. And it's actually a Cobra figure. And this particular figure I received for my 10th birthday. I went out and picked them out at the store with my mother. I've told this story before on some of my other earlier episodes. And for that reason, he is absolutely my favorite figure. And that is the Cobra Eel. Absolutely just love this figure. And I know that a lot of you are going to say, well, what are you thinking? Definitely not the iconic figure as Snake Eyes. But to me personally, this figure is just the absolute best. Just brings out the best memories as a kid. Had him in tremendous battles with Heavy Metal, him and the Fang going up against Heavy Metal and the Mauler. And I love this figure because as I was going through all the figures and trying to figure out as a 10-year-old, which figure do I want? This one came with the most stuff. So I ended up getting him because he came up with all this stuff, which of course he is an eel. He's a diver, so he's got all his diving equipment from his air hose to his harpoon gun to his fins. His fins, however, weren't able to stand him up. So there we go. From his fins. And then from this backpack, which has a rocket on it. And I'm not sure why this rocket and backpack came in 2 pieces. It just did. But, you know, a 10-year-old me looking for a new toy to pick out, I took a look at that, and that just made it look like it had more pieces than it really did. So another reason it came home with me. So absolutely love this figure. A lot of great memories. He was my first. He's the one that started it all for me. And as well, with this particular figure, that insignia, that Cobra insignia, which is a little bit rubbed off here, But when it was brand new, it just popped, and everything about this figure I just loved, and I had to get, and that's who I got. That was my first figure. Purchased him with or my mother purchased him with the Fang, and that's what I got for my 10th birthday in 1985. That's what started it all for me. That's where I became a huge GI Joe fan, and that continues today. So, unfortunately, this isn't the one I have from childhood. That one's long gone, but this is a newer one. And I don't do a lot of army building, but in this particular case with the Cobra Eel, I make an exception with, because he's absolutely my favorite. And even looking at his face sculpt, I mean, just look at that intensity in the eyes. Let's see if I can. Well, I can't zoom in here, but just the intensity in the eyes. I mean, he just looks awesome. Another aspect of him, and when we were kids, we used our imaginations to play. If you take off all the equipment off this fellow, including the fins, he sort of looks like a ninja. At least he looked like a ninja to me. So he was not only an eel in my little 10-year-old world, he was also a ninja who had the ability to do all the same stuff that Storm Shadow did. So there you go, folks. Those are my top 10 G.I. Joe figures from 1985. All of course, this is completely subjective, totally based on nostalgia. I would expect that all of yours would be different than this. But leave me a comment. Let me know which figure was your favorite as a child. Which one do you like best as an adult? And do you think that I'm way off here with my 85 list? Or would you watching? I appreciate all of you. And until next time, as always, happy memory hunting.